When I moved into that apartment, I was 29. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, quit my job, and relocated to another city. I wanted a fresh start, a clean slate. In my head, it was all romantic. Rent a modest one-bedroom, find a job in IT, drink coffee in the mornings by the window. The apartment was nothing special, an old 5-story building on the outskirts. Locals called it a Brishnevka. Narrow staircases, faded mailboxes, the smell of paint and damp in the entryway. But inside it was bearable. The furniture was old but sturdy. Most notably, there was a huge built-in wardrobe that spanned an entire wall of the main room. It looked older than the apartment itself. Wooden doors, squeaky tracks, and an inner smell of wood mixed with something musty. At first, I didn't pay much attention to the wardrobe. It was just there, spacious, convenient. I loaded it up with my clothes, books, and a few boxes left over from the movie. The first couple of weeks were peaceful. I was getting settled in, going to interviews, reading books, streaming online, living how I wanted. In the evenings, I'd sit with my laptop, listening to music or watching shows. But then the weird stuff started happening. The first time I heard it was at night. Around 2, I woke up to a dull thud. Not loud, but distinct, like someone had struck a wooden wall with their fist once. I assumed it was a neighbor. Maybe something fell. I turned over and went back to sleep. The next night, it happened again. The same thud. At the same time, identical sound like a replay. I sat up, listened, silence. Then another thud. Slow, hollow. 3 times. Thud, thud, thud. I got up, turned on the light. The room looked normal. I checked the door. No one. Checked the window. Closed, and then it hit me. The sound came from the wardrobe. I stood in front of it, heart racing, pulled the door open. Darkness. I reached inside, moved the hangers. Empty. Closed it. Went back to bed, blaming stress. But the thuds continued in the nights that followed. Almost every night. At first soft, then more persistent. Sometimes it sounded like something was trying to get out. A week later, I began noticing more details. The wardrobe was always closed, but some mornings one of the doors was slightly ajar. I figured I hadn't shut it properly. Or maybe it was a draft. But the windows were sealed, and I started checking them every night. One night I placed a book in front of the wardrobe, just to see if the door moved. In the morning, the book had shifted to the side as if nudged by a foot. I began keeping a diary of the events. Here's one entry from March 12th. I called the building supervisor, asked if anything strange had happened in the apartment before. He hesitated, then said, "No, everything's fine." The previous tenant just left suddenly, didn't even take the furniture. I asked, why did he leave? He paused, then replied, said he couldn't sleep, had bad dreams. I bought a small night vision camera, set it up on the table, aimed at the wardrobe, set a timer. That night I barely slept. I kept waiting for a sound. Around 3 I woke up. Silence. Just the camera's blinking light in the dark. In the morning I reviewed the footage. First 2 hours, nothing. Then at around 2:38 a.m., a thud is clearly audible. Once, then again, then a creaking noise. I leaned in. The wardrobe door slowly begins to open, very slowly, as if someone inside is gently pushing it. At that moment, the camera shuts off, just goes black. The next 20 minutes, a blank screen. Then the video resumes, already at dawn. The wardrobe closed. I stared at the screen, stunned. That evening, I made up my mind. I emptied the wardrobe completely, took out all the clothes, boxes, books, set up a flashlight and examined the inside. One panel at the back wasn't fixed properly. I pried it loose with a knife. It swung inward. Behind it was an empty space, some kind of hollow inside the wall. Narrow, dark. The smell was sharp like mold and rotting wood. I shone the flashlight inside. Nothing. Just an old cloth doll in the corner. Its face was worn, one eye missing. I took it out and threw it in the trash. Closed the panel. But that night, I couldn't sleep. The knocking wasn't just loud. It was angry, like someone furiously pounding their fists on wood. Thud, 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 thud. I got up, grabbed a knife, and stood in front of the wardrobe. And then I heard it, something whispering from inside. The words were unintelligible, but the voice sounded like mine. The next day, I left, just packed a bag and went to stay with a friend. I told him everything. He laughed until we returned for the rest of my things and saw that the camera was on again, even though I'd shut it off. The screen showed the wardrobe. The label read, "Live." I don't live in that apartment anymore. I don't know what was or is in there, but sometimes in the quiet, I still think I hear a thud.